in today's discussion, I will be discussing from the scratch because I think you'll be able to connect to my journey because I have a lot of similarities with you. And I'm a first generation lawyer. I've done my law school from Jamia. So I'll be sharing few of the experiences with you, and I will be telling you what all you should be doing during the law schools also, which will eventually benefit you and help you in reaching closer to the aim, to the goal that you have in life. I am reminded of my role model, my mentor, Mr. Ram Malani, who always used to say that he always learned from the youngsters, from young friends, from young students. And he used to say that he feels young when he's in the young company. So that's one reason why I never miss an opportunity to interact with young students, because I think I have a lot to learn from you all. And it gives me great pleasure in sharing my experience of my journey with you. So without wasting any time further, I will quickly start from the scratch. I'll take you back to basics. Before going to what you will be doing after 5 years, I'll first take you back to your first year. And I would like to ask you or perhaps apprise you about certain basics, which I feel you all must know, which are the interesting facts about the legal profession. So the first thing which I would like to point out is that we are in a profession which is called law. So if I ask you what is law, I mean, you may not have a fixed answer because the definition is inclusive and not conclusive. It's a very vast topic. It's a very vast subject that we are studying. Law is basically a set of rules which governs the society. Different jurisdictions may have different laws. Different states may have different laws. There are central laws, there are state laws. So law differs from the need of the society. And it essentially, if you go back, if you trace the history of law, it is merely a depiction of some customary traditions and religion, perhaps. These are all sources of law from where law has been derived. Now, another interesting basic question, which if I ask you today, what is the full form of LLB? Though you're pursuing it, but a lot of people do not know. So LLB stands for Legum Baccalaureus, which a lot of you must know because you are doing it. And if somebody asks you, you should not be blank because this is something which you are going to study for 5 years. I will also tell you about Lady Justice. In a lot of Bollywood movies, you may have seen Lady Justice holding, balancing a scale and a blindfolded lady. So the reason, I mean, I'll tell you why and what is the relevance of showing that kind of symbol and who is Lady Justice. Lady Justice is basically, this has been derived from Greek mythology. Lady Justice is a goddess of justice in the ancient Greek mythology. And the reason why she is holding a balance in her hand is because it is depicting that the Lady Justice will give equal opportunities to the parties and will let them present their arguments, their evidence in a particular case, and will then weigh the evidence which has been produced by the parties and decide. The second thing is that she is blindfolded. The reason of Lady Justice being blind is because justice cannot see whether you are poor or rich. These factors, these extraneous factors are not going to make a difference, irrespective of your caste, creed, gender, religion, financial ability, disability. All these factors will not come in the way of justice. Justice will not consider them, so it will treat you equally. That is the reason why it is blindfolded. The third thing is that Lady Justice has a sword in hand. The reason of having that sword is that justice has the power to implement the laws strictly and to punish the wrongdoer and to enforce its decision. That power also Lady Justice has. Now, these are the basics. There's one more basic which I will point out and then I'll tell you briefly. I know this may not be very relevant to the topic, but this is going to be very important for all of us because these are basics and it is always good to revisit the basics. You may have heard from a lot of people that, like, when people used to ask me in law school what you are doing, I used to say we are social engineers. They said, social engineers, why are you calling yourself a social engineer? So I used to tell them that we have a moral responsibility, we have an obligation towards the society, we have to make a difference in the people, in the lives of the people at large, and we have a greater responsibility towards the weaker and downtrodden section of the society, those who cannot afford justice, those who cannot fight for themselves. It is our duty to fight for them, to take a stand for them. And we, at the end of the day, as lawyers, are the officers of the court, and it is our duty to ensure that the rule of law is implemented in its true sense. I would like to tell you that law has been considered to be a noble profession for centuries. And the reason why it has been considered as a noble profession is that you may have heard that lawyers cannot advertise. We cannot give advertisements. We cannot say, oh, Tariq Khan, a good lawyer doing so and so in newspapers. All of that is not permissible under the Bar Council rules. The reason essentially is that just like medicine, even law is a noble profession. I will tell you about the beauty of law. Long back, decades ago in London, the practice was in UK that whenever a lawyer used to argue a case, he would never ask the client for money. If you have seen the robes that lawyers wear today also, or on top of the coat, you wear a black robe. So that robe has a pocket at the back, if you will notice. So nowadays, the pocket is, of course, it's not open, it's stitched. I have never been able to access it. But the idea behind that pocket was that after the matter, the client used to put some coins in it from the back without you asking for anything. Whatever he used to deem fit, he used to give you. So that kind of service the lawyers used to provide and used to render to the society at large. And that was the beauty about the profession. Senior lawyers similarly had a larger pocket, which could of course include more coins because they were senior lawyers. The reason was that we were discharging our duty towards the society without asking for any compensation, for any consideration. Today it may have changed. Nowadays, lawyers are considered to be uh, people who are earning a lot. And I'll not be surprised if many of you may have joined it for this very reason, that there's a lot of money in the legal profession, which is true. I would not lie to you. But these are the things which I think we must always keep in mind while pursuing our career, that we never have to compromise on our basic principles. And we must always remind ourselves that law is a noble profession at the end of the day, and that we must not run after the shortcuts. Because initially in your law school, you will feel that, oh, the moment I graduate, I want a lot of money, I want to do this, fulfill all my dreams. But the idea is to understand that patience is the key, and Rome was not built in a day. Things take time. So do not look at others, do not compete with others, do not see why this person got a job in such a good firm, why this person has a fancy lifestyle. The idea is to believe in yourself, work harder day by day. Now I will tell you how I pursued my law degree, which the 5 years I finished. Mandala ma'am has been a witness to it, first-hand experience, knowledge she has of my struggles, my experiences. But I'll share with you things you must keep in mind. So a lot of you may have excuses to make to yourself that I may not be able to achieve my goals because I don't have command over the English language. That's the first thing you tell yourself. Second, you tell yourself that you're not confident enough to stand up and speak. So you think if a person doesn't know English, if a person cannot, be confident and speak or argue, you feel that law is not the profession for me. Other reason may be that a lot of you may have stage fright, and maybe from Hindi medium, perhaps not from a, first generation lawyer, not having connections in the profession. And a lot of people may have told you that it's not what you know, it's who you know that gets you ahead in the legal profession. So honestly, these are all excuses that you make to yourself. And at the end of the day, you must remember that winners will never make excuse. And idea is that one, losing somewhere, if you participate in a moot court, if you participate in an event, and if you lose, you feel shattered. You feel that it's the end of the story. You must understand and realize that in law school, from time to time, such moments will come and these opportunities come from time to time. It's not the end of the story. Failure is basically the start of your comeback story. I had three major issues in law. When I came for law, I never wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be an engineer, but I couldn't make it to the engineering exams because maths was something I was not very comfortable with, and I had a very tough time because of that. And then when I came for law, I had, of course, I English was a language I was never familiar with. I had major issues speaking English, and because I was from a very average, below average school in a very small town in UP, and I had stage fright. I did not have confidence at all. Whenever I used to face the audience, my legs used to tremble, my hand used to shake, and I would just not be able to speak anything. Facing the audience was something which I had never done. So, I mean, with time, I realized that this cannot be an excuse for me to say that I will not be able to achieve my dreams, my goals. And then I started working towards my goals because when ideas come to your mind, they come like drafts. And when you start working on them, these ideas start taking shapes. And then eventually you will see the final result. Whenever you have an idea, a lot of people will discourage you, will tell you, no, you cannot do this, you should not do this for XYZ reason. But if you discuss your idea with 10 people, you will get 10 different answers. And eventually you will end up confusing yourself whether I should do it or not. So when you believe in something, you act on it. Do not look for approval from others, because you must realize that in our lives, there are people who try to act like anchors. Now, anchors to the ship that will slow you down. They will try to stop you, take you down. The idea is to cut them loose and keep going. I need to give you these background because these qualities you must possess, as law is an excellent and very, very rewarding profession. So when I started working, I never imagined that I'll be, able to get anything that I want. Everybody has some kind of dream because, people, some of them want to travel, some people want to buy some expensive things, they want to own something, wear good clothes. All of these things will take time. It should not be that you are just going by this rule that wherever I get the money, I will go. The idea in the initial years is to struggle, to learn the law, work as hard as you can, because once you know your subject and once you have developed that kind of niche in a particular area, then everything will follow. You don't have to look back. But the idea is to have patience. If you're thinking from day one, everybody will be following you and you'll be like Harvey Specter. So that's not going to happen, honestly. If you have that kind of expectation from this profession, then you might as well not pursue it.